But actually, I forgot to tell you, we were talking about like our first week, what people had to say. Well, the WNBA fined me for
No! You got fined for episode 1?
Dude, they fined me $1,500. I'm like, what? I'm like, this is just the beginning. It's like, you're kidding.
Every time Sophie Cunningham dares to call out the reality of what's happening in the WNBA, her general manager's inbox lights up with that dreaded subject line. Another fine, another penalty, another price to pay for speaking the truth. And this time, the league didn't just double down, they tripled it.
They fined her again. Sophie Cunningham has now been fined 4 times this season. She's had 4 separate fines this season. And she got fined for comments on a podcast episode about referees. And it wasn't even like it was that bad.
The chorus is growing louder. Frustration has hit a boiling point. And now, the unthinkable is being discussed openly across social media and sports forums everywhere. Sophie Cunningham's fans have had enough, and they're making it crystal clear. They want her to walk away from the WNBA altogether and finally speak her truth, no matter how many obstacles Commissioner Kathy Engelbert tries to throw her way.
Man, leave Sophie Cunningham alone, Kathy Engelbert. Don't nobody care about that corrupted WNBA and those corrupted referees. Y'all want to fine her $500. Why? Because y'all feeling some type of way because you, as the commissioner, not doing your job for that bum league. You hear me? At the end of the day, y'all have so many injuries. It's crazy. Y'all have over 150 injuries this year recorded. That's insane. Something not right.
What began as a simple podcast debut has quickly exploded into something much bigger. Sophie Cunningham launched Show Me Something with The Volume, Colin Cowherd's media empire, and just days after the first episode aired, she was slapped with a $1,500 fine. Not $500. Not a warning. $1,500 for the so-called offense of admitting that WNBA referees are human and make mistakes, while also pointing out the obvious. They've been making far too many of them. I prefer this response.
Any of them.
If they didn't like you then, they sure aren't going to like you now. Sophie Cunningham has been making waves with the new podcast that she is now featured in, courtesy of The Volume. Sophie Cunningham letting it all out and not holding back one.
If you're enjoying this, make sure to subscribe, because what happened next is almost unbelievable. Let's break it down, because the sheer audacity of the situation will make your blood boil. On her podcast, Sophie Cunningham did something practically revolutionary in today's WNBA climate. She told the truth. She said, and I quote, "If I was a ref, I know I would mess up all the time. Like, I'm not saying that your job is easy, but when it is a simple call right in front of your face multiple times, what are you doing?"
Yourself.
And she pulls me aside and she goes, "Come here, Soph, I have to talk to you." And this was in like front of everybody. And I was like, "What did I do now?" And she just smiled and she goes, "Hey, they're going to fine you again." They're like, I was like, I even told them, I even credited them that their job was hard. I did say that. And I said that I would not be good at it.
But then she
had the audacity to say what everyone else has been thinking. She called out plainly, the refs are inconsistent. Her words were simple. If you're on the other team and you're going to foul me, cool, but let me do it to you. That's it. That's what earned her a $1,500 fine. Not for cussing out officials. Not for launching personal attacks. Not for breaking any line of professionalism. She was punished for saying exactly what fans, players, coaches, and analysts have been repeating all season long. The officiating is
the world of what they dealing with. So you telling me, if I'm getting bullied, I can't make a video about it? You gonna punish me because I'm letting everybody know and the whole world know what's going on with me and that I'm crying out for help? So you gonna make me the bad guy?
This woman went out of her way to be fair, to stay balanced, to acknowledge the difficulty of officiating. She even gave the rest the benefit of the doubt. And still, she got slammed with a $1,500 fine for speaking the truth. On her podcast, Sophie admitted, Everyone in my locker room, they're like, oh God, what is she gonna say next? Even her own teammates are walking on eggshells, worried that just being associated with her honesty could land them in trouble too. That reaction alone tells you everything you need to know about how absurd this has become. But here's the kicker. This wasn't Sophie's first run-in with the WNBA fine machine.
Is it uncommon for coaches or players to get fined in a professional league when talking about officiating? No, that's not uncommon. However, when your league is looking worse than the NFL on officiating, you know what you might ought to do? Sit down in the corner and shut the bleep up. And maybe you ought not be fining your players over it, because your officiating is dog shit.
Already been slapped with a $500 fine over a TikTok video where she lip-synced Sabrina Carpenter's Man-Child. The clip went viral, pulling in more than 1.3 million views. But the league still came after her. Sophie's response summed up her whole attitude. Ick, why this is funny to me. Like, okay, you got it. Because there's not more important things to be worried about with our league right now. And that was just the start. Soon after, she was hit with a $900 fine for defending Caitlin Clark during the infamous Connecticut Sun Brawl. When J.C. Sheldon poked Clark in the eye in Marina, Mabry shoved her to the floor. Sophie stepped in and delivered a hard foul on Sheldon that sent a message loud and clear. Mess with our star, and you deal with the consequences. For standing up for her teammate against blatant, targeted harassment, Sophie got penalized nearly $1,000.
After 6 years of anonymity, Sophie Cunningham has suddenly become a superstar this season. Why? How did she accomplish the previously unachievable? How did she become a star in a league that seems to be allergic to star power? To her credit, Sophie Cunningham used her brain. She noticed that the path to stardom had already been cleared for her. She emulated the strategy that was utilized by Draymond Green.
Let's break down the numbers, because they're staggering. Sophie Cunningham has racked up at least $2,900 in fines this season alone across these documented incidents. $500 for the TikTok, $900 for defending Caitlin Clark, and $1,500 for her podcast comments. That's nearly $3,000 docked for telling the truth, standing up for her teammate, and daring to critique officiating. Now, put that into perspective. Rookie-scale WNBA salaries start around $60,000. For someone on that kind of paycheck, these fines aren't just slaps on the wrist, they're real financial hits. But here's the delicious irony that Kathy Engelbert and her front office enforcers completely overlooked. Every single fine has only made Sophie Cunningham more powerful. After the Connecticut Sun incident, her social media following skyrocketed from about 350,000 to over 1.6 million virtually overnight. That $500 TikTok fine, it fueled millions of views and engagement across platforms. The league keeps trying to silence her, but every penalty only amplifies her voice. Do you want to carry this forward into a league versus Sophie narrative arc, or keep it more numbers driven?